This is the introduction to exercise 3G on setting up and solving simple nonlinear equations, page 137. As per the exercise, the textbook, and also the question sheet, this exercise is optional, but it really is just a slight variation of what you guys already know anyway. Except with nonlinear equations, we're just doing plus minus both sides or times both sides, whatever. And in this case, we're just working with they've got powers on both sides. So I need to solve the equation. It's really just, can we use the same understanding we already have in order to do the opposite operation to solve for x? In this situation, solve the equation where x squared equals 81. Well, of course, I know it's x squared equals to 81. And I also know the opposite of squared is the square root. So theoretically, why does it have an arrow? Theoretically, they should be the same if I square root both sides. There we go. If I square both sides, I know that x squared square root is what? X, because they cancel each other out. Thank you very much. And the square root of 81 is 9. Now, this is me being very pedantic, okay? The square root of 81, if I was to say it out loud, I'd say, what number times by itself gives you 81? Yeah? Now it's 9. 9 times 9 is 81. There's actually another answer. Does anyone know what the other answer is? What number times by itself gives you 81?
9.
We've got 9. So 9 times 9 is 81. What's the other number? Is negative 9. Being very pedantic. Negative 9 times by negative 9 is still positive 81. So technically, the square root of 81 is this. Has anyone seen that before, that symbol there? Yeah, it looks like a Chinese character. It just means plus or minus. It could be positive 9, it could be negative 9 in this case. Great. Same idea over here. I've got a cubed equals to negative 512. I can say a equals to, well, that's a cubed equals to negative 512. So I'm going to do the opposite of cubed. The opposite of cube is? Ooh. What's the opposite of square? Square root. So the opposite of cube is cube root. Thank you. It is a thing. Again, if I'm thinking about it this way, I'm thinking what number multiplied by itself 3 times gives you negative 512. Now, of course, that has to be a negative number, doesn't it? Because a negative times by a negative times by a negative gives you negative 512. So, there's a few ways we can do this. Once we've got that, I know that equals to a on the left-hand side. Because a cubed cube rooted is just a. Now I need to figure out what is cube root of negative 512. Now you could put in the calculator. Let's go keyboard, cube root. So we put this button there, which gives you an option to put that 3 there. Just to be clear, let me just put this as an example. Cube root of 5112 is not the same, as 3 square root negative 5112. In fact, it doesn't even exist. Because this one is cube root, whereas this one is 3 times square root. So they're technically different things. So just make sure you use this button instead if you're trying to do cube root. Okay, so we get negative 8. So negative 8 times by negative 8 times by negative 8 gives us negative 512. Any questions so far for exercise 3G, sorry? Okay, let's do one more example and then we'll go from there. So a circular gun is to be planted with a radius of 4 meters. So let's say that this is our garden with a radius. What does radius mean? Half, good. Half the distance here. So that's 4 meters. What is the area of the garden? So, actually, do you guys know what the formula is for area off the top of your head? Pi r squared, good. A equals to pi r squared. Now, if it says it's correct to 2 decimal places, should I be using, should I have my answer in whole numbers or should I change pi into a decimal? Good. So area equals to pi times by r, which is 4, because it's 4 meters as our radius, squared. A equals to 16 pi. Of course, we know that's not the final answer. So we have to put that in our calculator and go 16 times by, there we go, pi, to give us an answer of, and we have to change that to a decimal, 50.5 0.27. Are we done with that? Happy? Meters squared. Thank you. Meters squared. Lovely. I forgot to mention up here. You know how I mentioned we could put this in the calculator and see what we get in order to solve for x. What's the other way we could do that? Couldn't I put the whole question into the calculator and just solve it? Yeah. So for example, I could just go interactive, advanced solve. A cubed equals to negative 512. What's wrong with that? What did I do wrong?
No solution.
Sorry? What did I do wrong? Why is it giving me no solution?
Wrong factor.
Wrong variable. That's what we're looking at, yeah? So it needs to be A, hit enter, bam, done. Yeah? Sweet. Are you guys happy to work on from there? Or would you like me to go through one more example? Okay, sweet.